It is a big subject matter and we can only small part of this. In Yoga Sutras, the concept of Ishvara is very wide. Ishvara in religion is description of God. In yoga is a description of one's own potential. So suddenly you'll find some groups of yoga or one who has been practicing yoga or meditation, some form of self-development or enlightenment, saying that he or she is God. They will say, I'm Ishvara, I'm God. They are asked this question, so if you are God, then what can you do? Number one. So if you are God, and then all of us are God, then what are we doing? What can we do? So the reason why we ask this, or why people have asked this, is that because they believe the word God means is creator. But in the context of yoga, or in the context of enlightenment or self-realization, Ishvara means the opportunity or the potential for realizing oneself. Not about creating. It's not about creating another human being or creating another planet. Not on that context. That one has full and complete opportunity and potential to explore one's full qualities. And the qualities we have seen, isn't it? We know about the 5 broad categories of the mind, and you have been practicing this, you have attempted to, right? What vritti is the mind functioning at that moment? We are following this practice. At other times, how is the mind? What are the thoughts that are flowing now? Not such a big work, but just at that moment, observing and seeing. Just observing and seeing. At many moments in our life, we observe what is the thoughts, or what are the thoughts, or what type of thoughts are flowing in our mind. Right now also we can do it. If the thoughts are not flowing in this particular sutra, or thinking about work or thinking about some other things, it is not wrong. Who said it is wrong? It is another vritti. The only thing is that it is not exploring its potential. The potential can be explored if the mind can be trained to be one-pointed at that moment. So that either we can absorb the right information or have the ability to introspect, so that one is not brainwashed nor conditioned. At all times there are so many things happening around us, either we accept or we reject. But it should not happen automatically. It should happen with awareness, that I choose that information which I want to allow in my mind, or that information which I don't want to allow in my life at all. Anything that has the elements of prejudice, I'm conscious and I don't allow. This is like godly. You're playing God with yourself. So you have the right to do this. Nobody else has the right to determine what form of thoughts, feelings, philosophy or belief that should go to your awareness or in your life. People can be immediately influenced, or over a period of time they can be influenced if one is not aware. So in the context of Patanjali is talking about awareness, he or she, we don't know. Patanjali has not introduced himself or herself. So what is happening? So that is one determination. And then over a period of thousands of years, individuals who have exercised that form of awareness after thousands of years were known as a god. In many cultures, when a person exhibited such powerful tendencies of self-thinking, introspection, ability to bring forth wisdom, after they have passed away thousands of years later in particular cultures, then they come up to be known as gods. And then they are given higher powers. Over a period of another few thousand years, then that particular culture will say that this is God of the entire humanity. This is the creator of whatever that you see. All of you created by this particular God. All the planets created by this particular God. Everything is created by this particular God. This is one culture. So if that culture is able to survive centuries and centuries of change, wars and all that, it's still there, and along that way, in another part of the world, another enlightened being, person who lives this kind of qualities over a period of time, while he or she is living or after they have died, then that particular culture will start to create an image, a feel, and then another God springs up from that geographical location or era, and then you have another God, and then the people will say that this is God who has created all mankind. And then you have so many over a period of time. Then after they have all gone and thousands of years later, you have there is greater communication, more transportation. People are able to go from this geographic location to another, and from this particular place to another, bringing knowledge and understanding and all that, and then they start to compare this particular God and that particular God, and what they have said and what they have not said, who is better, who is higher, and which knowledge is greater, which is longer or older. So many comparisons take place, and then they start to fight. So that is not the Ishvara that Patanjali is talking about. So if we can trace, then Ishvara has always been in the context of yoga. And I'm not saying historians and people who have been studying these components of history from a perspective of science and logic says that seems to be that all of them have been introduced by a person. That all the so-called gods were introduced by individuals, and that is their experience. No one has the right to say yes or no. If we say infinity or that universe or whatever that is beyond whatever that we can see, the supermind or the infinity has such great power, then we don't have the right to judge or confine. Then it just continues. This speculation, this understanding, misunderstanding continues. But a matured mind is not bothered by all this. If one knows this as infinite, infinity, can you then define? Can anyone define? Can we say that this God has to be like this or not like that? Or there is God or there is no God? Everybody has the right to their own concepts, their own beliefs. The only thing that they don't have the right to is to destroy or kill someone in order to make them believe what I believe. That no one has the right. Everyone has the right to protect a person to think and say what he believes and wants to say. This is a very mature kind of understanding. This is Ishvara. If I say something that is totally different from what Turiya believes, absolutely, totally opposite, then if I have that maturity and he has that maturity, he will say, go ahead, say anything that you want. even if it is against my belief. And then I say the same thing to him. Then we can also live peacefully. We can live peacefully even though it's totally opposite to my belief system. Or then someone says, and Priya comes and says, I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in both of you. I don't believe in anything. And then someone says that, oh, she doesn't believe. Then shall we go and do something to her? And we say, no. We will protect her with our own lives. And she has the right to say what she wants to, even if it is totally against what he and I believe. If we can all do this, then infinity is very much alive in our lives. Because all of these concepts and ideas and beliefs and non-beliefs keep on changing, because we are becoming more and more mature and clearer in our understanding. Isn't this a glimpse of infinity? This is infinity. A person who does not believe at all has the right to exist, and in his belief system, the person who believes everything or something so absolutely that you call him a fanatic also has the right to be there. So if I can accept the so-called fanatic or the so-called universal thinker or the person who does not believe in anything, do you think there's going to be any fight or not? Nobody is going to fight anyone, because there's no resistance. This exact concept what Patanjali is bringing here. And he says that devotion, the concept of devotion is not slavery. The concept of devotion here, Ishvara Pranidhana, there's a Sanskrit word here in this particular sutra, says Ishvara Pranidhana. It's actually surrender. It's surrendering to our higher potential. Sometimes the greatest obstacle to our own growth and happiness seems to be our own self. Our own mind seems to be the greatest obstacle towards achieving enlightenment. So therefore, it's not outside there. The obstacles, the enemy, and so-called the invisible shadow that is always hanging in our consciousness is not because of another person, but it may and can greatly be from our own belief systems. So here they are asking you to even explore the potential of thinking that divinity or godliness is within you. And some people have believed this in the past. They have just believed that there is God inside them, godliness inside them, and they dared to say it out. And those people who have dared say that, who had that daringness to say that I am a reflection of that ultimate, that within me is godliness, that I have found everything that I have looked for, are those whom people follow right now. So whoever has dared to say that is now known as men of God, or those who have attained godliness, or who are God. Up to now, people are still talking and speaking about them. 10,000 years ago they have lived, 5,000 years ago they have lived, 2,000 years ago they have lived. Where got science and technology? Were they talking about rocket science? No, simple things, simple philosophies, and most of it is about love, compassion, kindness, and all the time uttering that there is God within you, God everywhere. But the concept of God over a period of time has been distorted, that's all. Definitely there is truth in all the scriptures. The only thing is that you have to read it with clarity. There cannot be interpretation, and nor we allow anyone to do the interpretation in a narrow way and then again segregate man against man. If the interpretation and the commentaries is to unify man with man, I'm talking man means everybody, humanity, to unify, then we are talking about a true reflection of the truths that are contained in all scriptures. So eventually we can open up and then we will be able to see that there is no higher or lower. You can never and should never say that, oh, this particular scripture that I have been born with is the highest or the purest. If you bring and you say that this is what I have been born with, this is what my parents taught me, this is what my culture shows me, no, equal. And then when she comes and says, no, this is what I have been told, this is what my parents, my grandparents told, oh, there's also beauty in this. And then another person says, I have nothing, nobody has told me anything, oh, this is also that kind of beauty. And this is the devotion to, actually the devotion to truth. What else? Ishvara is truth. Everything else is illusion. We are on the path of finding the truth. If all of us here can link our consciousness and believe in whatever that we have been brought up with, that is very fair. But our consciousness is to unify and love and compassion and bring all of this to a uniformity. That means my heart is flowing to everyone, including animals, trees, plants, rivers, and the sky. Then I think we are already close to what is described as Ishvara, or the divinity within us. Namaskar, thank you.